This is the Holoclock V. The plans for this are on Thingiverse, but I modified the software a bit and I'll show you how to use it. First of all, the basic operation of setting the clock is lift this thing up, set the time to what it is. There's two rings in here you can turn. So you can turn this one, turns the hours, so we'll set it to 8 o'clock. And I find a good idea just to hold that other ring and then move the minutes hand up to whatever time it is. So this would be 8 o'clock, and you drop the thing in and you plug it in on the back, and it'll go backwards a little bit and then it'll go forwards. Right out of the box, sometimes the accuracy isn't all that great, so you need to calibrate it. And you can do that by changing some numbers inside the software and recompiling it. But what I did to make it a little bit easier is add a user interface to it. So we'll go to that now. And it has some other adjustments you can do as well. So in order to calibrate it, you first need to communicate with it. So it's a serial port, and you need to use some serial package. You can use PuTTY, P-U-T-T-Y, or SSCOM, or you can even use the Arduino IDE and put on the terminal monitor. So I'm going to start up PuTTY here. First, you need to know which COM port it is. You find that by going to the device manager. So go to Windows, search Device Manager, and you open up the ports here, and we can see that this is COM13. Now you start PuTTY or whatever you're using. Okay, this is the PuTTY screen. Well, we know that it's a serial port we want to use, so we go down here and we click on serial. We go up here and we set that COM port that we already looked up, which is COM13, 9600 baud. Everything else is fine. You click open. Okay, so here is the PuTTY screen. You hit the enter key and you'll see this menu appear. You can use the C command to enter the number of microseconds to correct per minute. And that could be positive for speeding up or negative for slowing down. But that's a little hard to calculate sometimes. What's easier is to let this thing do the calculation for you, and that's the F command. So what you do is you type F, then the number of seconds that is slow or fast. So if the clock is running slow, you would use a negative number, and then the number of hours it took. So let's say that we were losing 20 seconds a day. So that would be minus 20. And the number of hours is the second argument. So that would be 24 hours. And you hit that, and you'll see that it calculated the actual calibration number here of 13888. And now that clock has been calibrated with that time, and it'll run a lot more accurate. So if you let it run for 48 hours and figure out how many seconds is off, you'll get very accurate. Another command that's useful here is the W command. That stops the clock running. So you can set it to a certain time, and then exactly when it gets to that time, then you hit the W command again and the clock will start. So you can see now that it's running. There's also a test mode in here where it just keeps moving the hands continuously. There's the adjust minutes command, which is useful to do fine control. I'll show you that in a moment. The plus and minus, they will advance or retard the clock by that many minutes. So if you wanted to move it forward by 5 minutes, you go plus 5, and then the clock will advance. The A is to fine adjust the position. So let's look at that for a second. If this clock is set to, we'll set the clock to 6 o'clock. It could be anything, but just set it to something that's pretty accurate. I'm going to stop it with the W command, so it's not running now. I'm going to do a -1. And you can see the clock's not quite on. And you can also see that the hour hand's a little bit off as well. It should be a little bit more to the right. So what we'll do is, we've set it to 6. Move the minutes hand with these minus commands. So we'll go -5 just to try it. Yeah, and that has now adjusted the hour hand, so the hour hand is pretty close. So now we'll pick this up again, and we'll advance the minute hand up to the minute. And it's a little bit off, it looks like. If you push it that way, that'll take up the slack. So if we move it, we use the adjust command. So we'll move add 500, add 100, not quite enough. We'll add 100. There, now we've got it. Now we've got it really closely aligned. So the stepper motor delay, this sets how fast the stepper motor runs. You can make it less, longer, shorter, whatever you want. The minimum is 2. 6 is the default. Test mode just makes the clock spin. So if I hit T, you'll see the clock just advances. It's a good way to make sure that everything's running and nothing's sticking. Hit T or any other letter to stop it again. And the R is the reverse motor. Some of the stepper motors run in reverse. So if you find your clock is going the wrong way, then just use the R command to switch it around. All these settings are saved in case the power goes off. First, we'll set the clock to what time it actually is, and we'll hit the W command, and it will start running. Okay, I think that's about all you need to know about it for now. There is a full manual that the link will be in the YouTube video in the text underneath. And enjoy!